I can't believe this happened with a man who looks at least 20 years younger than me. I'm about to share a story I've never even told my best friend, who I share all my secrets with. I've always loved creating. As a child, I wasn't good at drawing, but I loved playing with paper dolls I'd cut out myself. Just seeing art supplies would inexplicably excite me, and I'd spend hours painstakingly crafting my creations. My family was always fascinated by this. Now, in my late 40s, I never imagined I'd create a secret with a man I met at a workshop. I got married in my mid-20s and had children. I enjoyed crafting with my kids, and they've always been quite fond of art activities. Once they were a bit older, I started attending a class on making natural products at a cultural center near my home. It was gratifying to make soap with my choice of ingredients and design, different from what's available in stores. I even gave them as gifts to people I know. Due to my youngest child's constantly dry skin, I stopped using commercial soaps, which contain surfactants, and started making soap at home, using ground paprika juice. It really helped calm my child's skin, knowing that surfactants could be absorbed by my body and become toxic. I decided it was better to make my own shampoo and body wash as well. The class at the cultural center was a 12-week course, mostly attended by women in their 50s. However, there was one man, and he said he wanted to start a business after taking the course. When introducing himself, he mentioned that he was a newlywed and had taken some time off from running a store with his wife to learn about natural products. The teacher suggested he be the class leader since he was the only man, and everyone applauded his pledge to do his best. The teacher introduced us to new product-making techniques daily, and the students were eager to buy ingredients from the teacher to try making them at home. Although it was cheaper to buy ingredients from a large wholesale market about an hour away, those short on time bought them from the teacher, even at a higher price. My kids are all grown up, so I had some free time. It turned out that the class leader lived in the same apartment complex as I did. One day, after class, he mentioned that his wife was minding the store and asked if anyone wanted to go buy ingredients with him in his car. That day, everyone else happened to be busy, so I ended up going with him. I'm an introvert and don't have many friends. If you click with someone, it's the kind that lasts for decades, and they take really good care of you. Even the team leader, who looks at least 20 years younger than me, turned out to be quite the gentleman. I was sitting in the back seat of his car, seeing his inviting eyes suggesting I move to the front seat. Thinking he's only a few years older than my son, I decided it was okay and moved up front. Out of nowhere, he handed me my favorite iced Americano. The wholesale market is in the busiest part of town, so traffic might get heavy. But why did you sit in the back? Were you worried because I mentioned I'm newly married? My wife doesn't ride in my car. Actually, her car is bigger and sturdier. Ha ha ha. The team leader created a comfortable atmosphere. And before we knew it, we had arrived at the wholesale market. After buying packaging materials at the store, the teacher recommended we ended up with quite a bit of stuff. We shared the load, and he suggested we fill up at a snack bar nearby. Feeling guilty about the free ride, I paid and even packed some dumplings for him to take home to his wife. He waved his hands, saying it wasn't necessary, looking so innocently joyful. It was my first time in a stranger's car, but it didn't smell and was clean, so I didn't get a headache. Watching him eat, he He had such a refined and neat way about him. When we arrived at the apartment's underground parking lot and were about to head up with the supplies, the team leader said, "It's heavy. Let me carry it to the elevator for you," coming up beside me. It was just a few steps, but I appreciated the gesture and thanked him, saying today was a great experience. Later that day, I received a short message from the team leader. "I had a great time today. Let's meet again." That's when my heart began to stir. As I tried to sleep, his handsome face kept coming to mind, making it hard to rest. I envied the team leader's wife, living with a kind and tidy man, so different from my husband, who's gruff, drinks every night, and comes home late. After over 20 years of marriage, to feel my heart move for a younger man, I thought I was in trouble. So I deliberately avoided the team leader at the cultural center. He approached me as if nothing was wrong after class, offering to take me home. But I made an excuse that I had other plans. Then, a few days later, the team leader sent me a message saying he had finished reading the book the teacher recommended and offered to lend it to me. Since my feelings for the team leader had calmed down over those few days, I replied, suggesting we meet briefly in the underground parking lot. When I arrived at the agreed time, the team leader was there with a book, coffee, and a bunch of apples in his arms. "I came unprepared, yet you've taken such good care of me. I couldn't just accept it without giving something in return. Would you like to come up for a cup of tea?" I asked. The captain replied, "Really? I have time. If it's really okay, then I'll come up." Upon entering my home, the captain remarked, "Your place is so lovely, and your dog is adorable," all the while beaming with joy. "I remember you like vanilla lattes, and I happen to have some vanilla syrup. Let me make you a coffee." "Please wait a moment," I said, excitedly preparing coffee and cookies. At that moment, I had only intended to serve tea. As we watched a comedy show in the living room and chatted, the conversation turned to our partners. "My husband is so quiet. I didn't even know he drank when we were dating, but after we got married, he would go out to meet friends nearby and come home late at night. It's like the most important thing in his life is his drinking appointments. It's a miracle we even had kids. I've lived just looking at them. But as they grew, he started drinking more." "Do you drink much?" I asked the captain. The captain, resembling his father, said he couldn't handle his liquor and preferred coffee after meals over drinking sessions. I found myself wishing I could turn back time and date someone who doesn't drink. I was so shocked by my own words that I wished I could cover my mouth. The captain held my hand and softly said, "I have a lot of time today," and we spent the time together in the bedroom until evening. We met a few more times after that day, though I felt guilty towards my spouse. I couldn't stop because of the captain's complaints that even though he was newlywed, his wife always cared only about her business and turned her back on him, sleeping alone. I know our relationship will end someday, but for now, I just want to think about the present.